Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. Joining me today is Dave Micah. He's the market president of BMO Harris Bank in Naperville. Welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for joining me. Banks have, in my opinion, just played such a huge role in this pandemic, and BMO's no exception to that. So thank you for the role you have played.
Very much appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and very much appreciate the opportunity that we've had over the last year, really, during this pandemic.
So, Dave, you have started a new small business initiative. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. We've got a new one that's been around for about a year that I want to start with, and that's the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, as you know. We're into the second phase of it out there. And it's just as critical now, this deep into the pandemic, that as it was as it started. The difference is for us is that initially in phase one, we were only able to help our existing clients. And so as we've expanded, we've gotten to know it, we work with the SBA, we now can help any small business customer. So wanted to highlight first off that, if there are business owners out there that haven't participated yet, they're not sure if they qualify, just know that BMO absolutely can help anybody at this point and would love the opportunity to. And we're continuing to help our clients with phase two of that. The extension of that is, something I think as a bank we've come to really recognize is that advancing, an inclusive economic recovery has always been important. But when you really look at the impact of the pandemic, some of the racial justice movements that have happened over the last year, it casts an even more important light on that idea of an inclusive economic recovery. So, to that end, BMO recently announced BMO Empower, which is a $5 billion commitment to really support the idea of a truly inclusive economic recovery coming out of the pandemic and the other impacts of the last year. Specifically to us, part of that commitment is a $300 million commitment to small businesses, minority small businesses out there that will expand resources for women, Black, and Latinx owned businesses in our local communities.
So, Dave, what does this new initiative mean for businesses in Naperville?
I think we're most excited about it because it means, many of our minority-owned small businesses that have had difficulty accessing capital previously now have a new resource that they can turn to. And we're really excited about that. And I think more than just the lending products themselves, our Black and Latinx small business team provides networking events out there, educational content, and tools for small business owners in Naperville, as well as, across Illinois and Northwest Indiana. And, I think when you talk about what that means, we've expanded credit card criteria for applicants for this program. We're offering competitive interest rates here to make it very cost effective for these small business owners. Our lending programs really provide business owners with, not only the improved access to funding with this specialized lending criteria out there, but it's a revolving line of credit. So you only pay interest only, low payments. We try to make it as affordable as possible. We're providing rate discounts for if you bank with us, you can get additional discounts off of that rate. And I think just as importantly, the educational resources, including tools and webinars and coaching like managing an uncertain environment, things you can do and best practices around there, demystifying the lending products and how banks underwrite loans and helping business owners sort of understand what is it that's important to us? What do we look at to help them qualify there? And quite honestly, even things around marketing and how to use social media to your business's advantage. So it's really a partnership across the bank and these small business owners. And we've connected with, further Acciona Chicago, who does even more specialized small business lending to help businesses maybe we still can't. The Urban League in Chicago there, or the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So we're really trying to drive connections across our community to get back to that inclusive economic recovery.
What would be a piece of financial advice you might give any small business owner?
I love this question, and I think it's really come true over the last year that I don't want to sound inflate the impression of banks out there, but I would say if there's anything that's been highlighted during this pandemic is the importance of having those professional relationships out there with bankers, with accountants, with attorneys, et cetera. In good times, the need or support from those types of professionals might not seem as urgent or as important, but as we've seen over the last year, those relationships, the ability to seek answers to questions, to seek capital, to seek resources, and leveraging it, whether we can provide it or not, the ability for us to help you find it as a business owner has proven to be critical, and I think is fulfilling for us as bankers, quite honestly, as it has been for our business owners who are benefiting from these close relationships. So, we say it, and I think we really mean it more than just words, and that is we believe the purpose of BMO is to boldly grow the good, both in business and in life. And I think this past 12 months has really shown that we have the opportunity to make that happen in our local communities. And that's part of what the topics we covered today really highlight.
I would so agree with you. I think people have gotten to know their bank and understood the role of a bank in a community and in their own business life so much more this year than ever before, because you've had to reach out for help. You've been a little bit more vulnerable. You've needed to communicate and say, oh my gosh, I do not know what to do, whether it be to your bank or to your accountant or to your team, and say, this has been so different. And banks have stepped up, accountants, all the financial people have said, okay, let's do this. And BMO has just been terrific in that. So I thank you for your role you've played, and thank you for continuing to play that role.
Well, it's one that I think you realize how much of an impact you can have when you go through this. And I shared with you earlier, it's right down to our frontline customer experience representatives who handle our transactions, to our frontline bankers who sit with clients every day. They've seen it firsthand. They've seen the anxiety, they've seen the stress, and they've seen the relief we've been able to provide through programs like the PPP or the dozens of small minority business owners that have already taken advantage of our Black and Latinx lending programs.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Dave, for so much that you do in the community. Thank you for your support of NCTV 17 and Naperville Sports Weekly. You stood by us as high school sports were on, then off, and now they're back on. So we so appreciate that.
Great to see.
Great to see. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and we wish you continued luck, and we will talk with you again in the future.
All right. Thanks, Liz. Thanks for the opportunity again. We very much appreciate it.
Take care. And we'll be right back with more Business Connection. Stay tuned.